So in my opinion, and I'm kind of coming in from the side of the scrum a little, is that we've had financial advice for such a long time. It's a very well-established industry. But in my opinion, and the point I wanted to make today in my presentation is that I feel that financial coaching advice is often focused on the transaction that happens tomorrow, but there's a lot of people that are just trying to get through today. So if I can just take a very quick representation of this, is that you have somebody who is overspending by 20%. So they earn 100 Rand, they spend 120 Rand. They can't consider financial planning advice because they can't afford to pay for it in the first place, just by sheer logic and sheer maths. But nobody's coaching people out of that predicament. So financial planners are very good at building a solution for a future event, but they're not very good at building a solution to get people out of the rut that they're in today. So that essentially is the role of a financial coach, working together with a financial planner as a combined communal thing with the common client. One of the key outcomes of a financial coaching engagement is that we take the client from what I just portrayed as somebody who's maybe average or even in a poor state. The coach works with that person first because they're not ready to buy anything or to consider tomorrow. So the coach works with the client to make them become more positive, self-reliant, better self-belief, and they start to work towards better outcomes. That's then when the financial planner then enters, because then the client's ready for tomorrow, and that's where advice sits. So you can see quite nicely where the interplay is between the coach, who gets the client to a better place of self-belief and self-empowerment. Then that person is then ready to then consider advice, because at the moment they can't consider advice. So that's just where the interplay sits, and that's how the interplay can work out and can be very successful for the client as well as for the financial planner. So that's a question that I get asked on a regular basis. If one had to delve into the psychology of money and just what it means to have a conversation with a client, you see the difference is with the financial coach is the client leads. In most instances, the financial planner leads and tells, whereas the coach follows and listens. Now that already is two distinct differences. So I don't believe that many financial planners will have the wherewithal to be able to swap hats. So I don't think they'll be able to play the role of coach and then at the same time also play the role of advisor. I think that all financial planners should have a certain soft edge to them where on a daily basis when it's required, they should be able to be empathetic or understanding or have a nurturing kind of coaching type approach. But I think that if one had to enter into a solid, hard coaching kind of program where somebody needs to be rehabilitated over a six to 9 month process, I don't think that the financial planner will have the time, inclination, or understanding to be able to deal at that depth. So I think in some instances it can be one and the same, but I think largely what I'm advocating is that the two should be split, two separate disciplines, two separate sets of qualification, but put the two together though, for the common good of the client, it's a very powerful duo. So typically it could come through on various fronts. But the analogy I like to use is that it's like if somebody comes to me and says, Nigel, teach me how to swim. That's not a coaching client. If somebody comes to me and says to me, I swam first team at school and I want to now swim nationals. Now that's a client that I can coach. So in financial terms, the kind of person who's ideal for coaching is somebody who's probably running a budget planner. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Maybe they've bought and sold a few products and solutions. Maybe on and off they've had a relationship with a planner. They're kind of mindful of limiting their credit. They're mindful of saving, but they're not doing a really good job about it. But they've got the inclination, they've got the interest to do it. That's the kind of client that's coachable, because then I can come in and then take the person then from average to then good and then to great. Where the financial planner enters, he enters at the stage of as they convert to good to great, because then they start looking at medium and longer term objectives, and that's when the advice solutions then starts to make an interplay. I've then done my job as coach. I've progressed the person forward, made them better, and that is then when the advisor pulls in.